This year is about the minig that's brought in Shulchan Aruch Siman Tov Chav Tes in the beginning of Hilchos Pesach, that we don't fast and we don't say Tachnun the whole month of Nissan. Now the mocker for this, the Tur brings from Masechtes Soifrim. The Masechtes Soifrim says the reason why we don't fast in the month of Nissan is because Be'echod b'Nissan hukam hamishkon v'yud beis nesiim hikrivu karbonam liyud beis yoim l'chol shevet v'shevet v'kol echod hoya oise b'yoimoy yomtiv. So the Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the Mishkan was put up, and for 12 days the Nesiim brought a carbon each day for the Chanukas HaMishkan, and it was a Yom Tif each day for that Shevet. So this is the reason why we don't fast in the month of Nisan. So the Beis Yosef frekt, that's a good reason for the first 12 days in Nisan and for the Yom Tif of Pesach. But why is the minig that we don't fast the whole entire month? So the Beis Yosef says, V'nire, the hochi pirushay the Masechtes Soifrim. What is the pshat in the Masechtes Soifrim? The pshat is like this: Ein misanen b'chol chodesh Nisan. You're not supposed to fast in the whole month of Nisan. Me'achar shebe'echod boy hukam hamishkan u'beyud beis yomim she'acharov hikrivu anesiim karbonam ve'achar kach chag haPesach shivo yomim harei ruboy yotzo b'kedusha. So most of the chodesh are days that are special, that are heilig, that we don't say tachnun. Hilkoch ein lehis anis boy klal. So therefore, since most of the chodesh is kodesh, so we don't fast at all in the whole entire kodesh. And the Alter Rebbe's lashon in Shulchan Aruch is noihagin la soy soy kulei kodesh. This is what the Beis Yosef says, and this is brought down in the Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch. Now there's a sefer called Maaseh Roikeach. This sefer is from Rabbi Elazar Roikeach, and there's actually a set of Sforim that's called Kol Sifrei Rabbi Elazar Roikeach. And one of the Sforim of his is called Maaseh Roikeach. It's on Mishnayos, and most of it is explaining the Mishnayos al pi Kabbalah. Now in Masechta Psochim, the Maaseh Roikeach in his Pirush on Mishnayos, which is mostly al pi Kabbalah, has a shtickle that he speaks about this minhag, and he asks a kasha. Efrekt l'choyre im kein iker chosam in sefer. If the reason why you don't fast and you don't say tachnun the whole month of Nisan is because of this reason, that shekvar yotzo ruboy b'kedusha, that statement, that point doesn't say at all in the Masechtes Soifrim, and that seems like a main point, because you're left with a question on so many days in the month of Nisan that you don't say tachnun and you don't fast. Why is it that? And if the reason is shekvar yotze ruboy b'kedusha, so then it's iker choser min hasefer. And then the Maaseh Roikeach asks another question. And he says, if you look in the Tur, in the lashon of the Masechtes Soifrim that the Tur brings down, the lashon is like this: Shebe'echod b'Nisan hukam hamishkan v'yud beis nesiim hikrivu karbonam liyud beis yoim l'chol shevet v'shevet. Then the Masechtes Soifrim says, v'chein le'osid lovoy osid hamikdash lehibonois b'Nisan. So too le'osid lovoy, the Beis Hamikdash is going to be built in Nisan. L'kayim ma shenemar ein kol chodosh tachas hashemesh. There's nothing new. That means just like the Mishkan originally was built in Nisan, so the Beis Hamikdash is also going to be built in Nisan. The Beis Hamikdash Ashlishi is going to be built in Nisan. Lefichach, therefore, ein oimrim tachanunim kol yemei Nisan We don't say Tachnun the entire month of Nisan. Ve'ein misanen ad sheyaver Nisan. And we don't fast until Nisan is over. So the Masechtas Sofrim puts in the middle here this sentence that v'chein le'osid lavoi osid ha-mikdosh lihibonos b'Nisan. And the question is, where does this come in here? The Masechtas Sofrim is discussing why we don't say Tachnun in the month of Nisan. And according to the Beis Yosef, it's only because of the 12 days of Chanukas HaMishkan and of the Yont of Pesach. Since Ruboi Kodesh, so therefore Noyagim La'asoisoi Kulei Kodesh, has nothing to do with the fact that La'asid Lovoi, Osid Beis HaMikdosh Lihibonis B'Nisan. So why does the Masechtas Sofrim bring this sentence in the middle of this paragraph? So therefore, the Maaseh Rekeach says, Nirel Anias Daiti Shekavonas HaMasechtas Sofrim Kahu. He says what he feels is the pshat in the Masechtas Sofrim. And in order to explain this, he brings a hakdoma, he brings down the Gemara in Masechta Reish Hashanah Daf Lamed Amud Aleph, where the Gemara speaks about the takon of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, sheyehei yoim henef kuloi osur. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made a takona that mishechorav beis hamikdosh regarding eating chodosh, that the halacha is that the day that the Omer is brought, that's the second day of Pesach, the Korban Omer is matir to eat chodosh. So bizman shebeis hamikdosh kayim, what is matir to eat chodosh? The Korban Omer, when they actually bring the Korban Omer in the Beis Hamikdosh, that is matir to eat chodosh. What about bizman she'ein Beis Hamikdosh kayim? Then min haTorah, it's mutter to eat chodosh from when the day begins. And Rashi brings that we learn out from Psukim. One pasuk says that you shouldn't eat chodosh ad etzem hayom hazeh, till the day comes, the day of Hanafas ha'omer. And another pasuk says ad haviyachem ha'omer atnufa, till you actually bring the Korban Omer. So Rashi brings the Gemara in Menachos that says ha'keitzad bizman habayis omer matir. When the Beis Hamikdash is standing, then the actual Hakravas ha'omer is matir to eat chodosh. Ubizman she'ein omer etzem hayom matir. But when there's no Beis Hamikdash, then the etzem hayom is matir. So as soon as the day begins, min haTorah, it's already mutter to eat chodosh. Came Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and said, he made a takona sheyehei yom henef kulei osur, that no, you cannot eat chodosh from when the day begins. The whole entire day, you're not allowed to eat chodosh, and you have to wait till the day is over, and only then could you eat chodosh. Frek the Gemara, my time. What's the reason for this takona of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai? The Gemara explains, Meheira yibone beis hamikdash, because we are concerned that something can go wrong. What can go wrong? Very soon, the Beis Hamikdash is going to be built. V'yoimru, and people are going to say, Ishtaked, last year, Milo yochalnu beheir mizrach. Didn't we eat chodosh as soon as the day began? Achshav nami neichel. They'll think that even now that the Beis Hamikdash is built, they can also eat as soon as the day begins. V'lo yadi, and they won't know, they won't be aware of the ishtaked lo hava omer. Last year there was no Korban Omer, there was no Beis Hamikdash, so therefore heir mizrach hitir. As soon as it became day, it was matir to eat chodosh. Bar hashta de ika omer, but now that there is the Korban Omer matir. So the Omer is matir, so you have to wait for the Korban Omer. So therefore people might make a mistake, and even after the Beis Hamikdash is built, they will eat the chodosh right away. So therefore Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made a takona that Bizman she'ein Beis Hamikdash kayim, you're not allowed to eat chodosh the whole entire day. Frek the Gemara, there's still a concern. When are you thinking that the Beis Hamikdash is going to be built? The Mivni Eimas, when is the concern that if the Beis Hamikdash will be built, the Yidden will make a mistake? Ilema de Ivni B'Shitzar, If you say the Beis Hamikdash was built on the 16th day of Nisan during the day, since when the morning began, there was no Beis Hamikdash yet. So even that year, even though the Beis Hamikdash is built later on in the day, nevertheless, since in the morning there was no Beis Hamikdash, so it already permitted to eat Chodesh. Elo de Ivni B'Chameisar. So the concern must be that it was built on the 15th day of Nisan. So when the 16th day began, there was already a Beis Hamikdash. From Chatzos it should be mutter to eat Chodesh today. Why? The Hotnan hor choiken mutarin mechatzos hayom ulahalon l'fi she'ein bezdin misatzlam boy. That people who live far from the Beis Hamikdash during the Beis Hamikdash and they don't know if they brought the carbon omer yet or not. So the din is from Chatzos they're allowed to eat because they can rely that for sure the carbon omer was brought. So if so, since even bisman Beis Hamikdash kayim, people who don't know can eat from Chatzos. So Rabbi Yochanan should have made a takona that b'she'ein Beis Hamikdash kayim, you have to wait until Chatzos to eat the Chodesh. But after Chatzos, you should be able to eat it. Because that way, even after the Beis Hamikdash is built, nobody's going to eat it before Chatzos. And by Chatzos, the carbon omer will already be brought. So the Gemara answers, Loi nitzrecha, de ivni b'chameisar somuch l'shkiyas hachama. The concern is, if the Beis Hamikdash will be built on the 15th day of Nisan, on the first day of Pesach, in the afternoon, close to Shkia. Inami, or another possibility, the Ivni Belelia. Beis Hamikdash might be built at night, the night of the second day of Pesach. And therefore, there's a concern. The concern is that since the Beis Hamikdash was built so close to the Zman Hakravas Omer, so they won't have enough time to go and cut the barley and prepare it and grind it and sift it, and will take long and it will be delayed till after Chatzos. In other words, in regular years, when they have advance notice and they prepare everything, so for sure by Chatzos the carbon omer will be brought. But if the Beis Hamikdash will first be built the day before, Samuch l'shkiyas hachama, or the night before, then everything will be a last minute, and it might take longer, and it will be delayed, and they might not bring the carbon omer till after Chatzos. And therefore, if during the Golus, when there's no Beis Hamikdash, the Yidden will be permitted to eat Chodesh after Chatzos, from Chatzos, then they might make a mistake that Pesach, that the Beis Hamikdash will be built the first day Pesach, Samuch l'shkiyas hachama, or at night, and that year it will first be brought to carbon omer after Chatzos, and the Yidden might say, well, last year we ate from Chatzos, and this year we'll also eat from Chatzos, and really it's going to be before the Akravas ha'omer. So because of this chashash, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made a takona, sheyehei yoim henef kula yasur, that the second day of Pesach you're not allowed to eat Chodesh until the end of the day. That's the Gemara's maskona. So the Meiser Rekeach fragt, v'hikshesi lishoil dilechoira chashosha rechoikahi sheyibone b'yomtiv oy balayla. It's a far-fetched chashash that it should be built punkt the first day of Pesach samuch l'shkiyas hachama, or at night. K'moshe Pirish Rashi to hagam sheyuchali, even though it's possible. K'moshe Pirish Rashi v'toisvis, regarding the night, that Rashi and Tosfos fragen the kasha, how could you say that the Beis Hamikdash will be built at night? There's a rule, there's a halacha that ain't binyan Beis Hamikdash loy b'yom tiv v'loy b'layla. It says b'yoyim hakom es hamishkan. The mitzvah to build the Beis Hamikdash is to build it during the day dafka, not at night. So how can it be built during the night? So Rashi and Tosfos answer, hanimili binyan b'dei adam. That's if it's built by people. Aval binyan ha'osid lavei b'dei shamayim hu. But the binyan in Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, which is going to come down from Shemayim, that could come even at night. So it's possible. But the question is, good, it's possible it will be built on the first day of Pesach, Samuch l'shkiyas hachama, or at night. But it's a chashosha rechoika. Why should we think that punkt, then it's going to be built? It's going to be built out of all the days. So he explains that he said earlier in this Sefer Ma'aser Keach that Mechias Amalek La'asid Lovoy will take place on Yud Daled Nissan, on Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach is the man of Biur Chometz. So the official scheduled time that's most appropriate for Mechias Amalek, to wipe out Amalek completely, is on Erev Pesach, which is this man of Biur Chometz. And based on that, he explains that it's known that the Gemara says that the Seder is Gimel mitzvahs nistavu Yisrael umanis lahem melech v'limchois zarei shel Amalek v'livnois beis hamikdash. First has to be Mechias Amalek, and only afterwards could be the Binya Beis Hamikdash. So since the official, most appropriate time for Mechias Amalek is on Erev Pesach, it's man of Bir Chometz, so that means that the first time that the Beis Hamikdash can be built is after that. So if it's after that, it's very possible that it could be built on Yom Tov, on the first day Yom Tov. Since the official appropriate time for Mechias Amalek is on Erev Pesach, so it's very appropriate to say that the Beis HaMikdash will be built the next day, which is the first day of Yom Tov Pesach. So therefore, it's a very possible chashash that the Beis HaMikdash will be built on Yom Tov, on Tesvav Nisan, and it could be that it would be built first. It will take time, and it could be completely built Samach l'shkiyas achama, or at night. And this is basically could be understood, even though the Beis Hamikdash is coming from Shamayim, but there is still the part that the Yidden will build on the Beis Hamikdash, as it's explained. The Rebbe explains that since there's a mitzvah of binyan Beis Hamikdash, so one of the explanations the Rebbe explains is that the Beis Hamikdash will come from Shamayim, but it will still be parts for the Beis Hamikdash that the people will build, a Moshiach will build, to be mekayim the mitzvah of binyan Beis Hamikdash. And one of the suggestions of the Rebbe is that Moshiach will build the doors for the Beis Hamikdash. Moshiach will build, but that's a different discussion, not for now. So the point here is that it's very possible, it's an appropriate time that the Beis Hamikdash should be built on the first day of Pesach, and therefore Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai has this concern about the Isser Chodesh, when to permit to eat Chodesh, and therefore he said they have to wait until the end of the day to prevent the chashash of the possibility that the Beis Hamikdash will be built Samach l'shkiyas achama on the first day of Pesach, and therefore that year the Hakrava Sa'imer will be delayed to the afternoon the next day, and to prevent that chashash of people eating it earlier, he made a takana that Kishein Beis Hamikdash Kayim, you cannot eat Chodesh the whole entire day. Now the Ma'aser Yekech goes on to say that there is a celebration of Chanukas Habayis. Once the Beis Hamikdash is built, there's a celebration of Chanukas Habayis, and we see by the Bayis Rishon that Shlomo HaMelech built that the Chanukas Habayis was for 7 days. For 7 full days was the Chanukas Habayis of the Beis Hamikdash. And the Gemara in Moed Katan says that Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. The Gemara learns it out from Shlomo HaMelech, because he made the Chanukas Habayis for 7 days before Sukkot, and Yom Kippur was one of them. And that year they didn't fast Yom Kippur because they were celebrating Chanukas Habayis of the Beis Hamikdash. So he couldn't make it during Sukkot because Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. So he made it the 7 days before Sukkot. Now, when the Beis Hamikdash will be built, there will for sure be at least 7 days of Simcha of Chanukas Habayis. It's not going to be less than it was in the Bayis Rishon. It might be more, but not less. Now, if the Beis Hamikdash will be built on Pesach, on the first day of Pesach, so when could be the Chanukas Habayis? On Pesach, you can't do it because Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. So the first opportunity is after Pesach for the next 7 days. That means the last week of Chodesh Nisan, after Pesach, the next 7 days until the end of Nisan. So therefore, the Ma'aser Yekech says that the Pshat in the Masechtes Sofrim, that he's coming to explain why we don't say Tachnun the whole entire month of Nisan, and we don't fast the whole month of Nisan. This is the Pshat in the Masechtes Sofrim, that he says, Be'echad b'Nisan hukama mishkan, and then Yud Beis Nesiim ekrivu karbonon kol echad b'yoymoi, and each one made a Yom Tif on that day. V'chein le'osid yibone Beis HaMikdash b'Nisan. And when is that going to be? So the appropriate time for it is on Pesach, after the Mechias HaMolek, which will be on the Erev Pesach. And therefore, the Chanukas HaBayis will be after Pesach until the end of the month of Nisan. And the Meiser Ekeach concludes, Lefichach ein misanen ad sheyaver Nisan lezeicher mikdosh de le'osid. So the reason why we don't fast in the last week of Nisan, that's a zeicher le'mikdosh de le'osid, since the Chanukas HaBayis of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, the first opportunity, according to the official times, the first opportunity will be the last week of Nisan. So this week was designated to celebrate a zeicher for this simcha that's going to be the Chanukas HaBayis of the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore we don't say Tachnun and we don't fast. So this is a new concept that the Meiser Keach brings out, that the reason why we don't fast in the last week of Nisan, it's a new concept of Zeicher LeMikdash HaOsid, that we do something to focus on the Mikdash HaOsid that is going to be a Chanukas HaBayis and the big celebration. So just like in the beginning of Nisan, we don't say Tachnun because of the Ovar, because of the Chanukas HaMishkan that was celebrated in those days. So in the end of Nisan, we don't say Tachnun because of the Osid, because of the Chanukas HaBayis that will be celebrated L'Osid Lovoi. So it comes out that the last week in the month of Nisan, the reason why we don't say Tachnun, it's not just that it's a toffel to the rest of Nisan. According to the Beis Yosef's Pshat, there's really nothing significant about the last week in Nisan. It's just that it's a toffel to the rest of Nisan, since Yotzer Rubai B'Kedusha, so therefore Noyagen La'asaysay Kulei Kodesh. But the Meiser Ekeach explains that the last week in Nisan, it's not a toffel, it has its own right not to say Tachnun. And the reason is Zeicher LeMikdash HaOsid. So this is a unique type of celebration that we don't say Tachnun for the entire week after Pesach, because of the inyan of B'Nisan Asidin Ligoil, because of the Chanukas HaBayis of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. And what's interesting is that the Chassam Sofer in the Tshuva, in Chelik Eir HaChaim, Siman Kuf Gimel, he brings down this vort, and he says, Zochinu lidvar Hashem emes befi hagoyin meirenu Rabbi Lozor mibrod besifroi Meiser Ekeach reish psochim vehine emes v'nochoin hadovar ki meikir hadin oiser mesechtes soifrim lis'anois acher achag mipnei Beis HaMikdash sheyischanech bohem le'osid. That the reason why the Masechtas Sofrim says not to fast the last week of Nisan, it's not just because it's a toffel to the rest of Nisan. It has its own inyan, me'ikir adin, because of the Beis HaMikdash ha'osid that's going to be nischanech. V'yesh lonu lasois simin she'onu ma'aminim u'metzapim u'smeichim onu l'kras bias hazman hahu. That's how the Chassam Sofer describes this inyan. That the inyan is that we are to celebrate these days, to show our simcha and our tzipiyah in a hanhoga bepoil, that we don't say Tachnun, to express our tzipiyah, anticipation for the Geula, and our simcha, l'kras bias hazman ahu, our simcha for the coming of the Geula. And this is why we don't say Tachnun in the entire month of Nisan, specifically in the last week of Nisan, as the Meiser Ekeach says, Zeicher LeMikdash de LeOsid, and this is celebrating the Chanukas HaBayis of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. It's a zeicher to the Chanukas Habayis of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, which is going to be a big celebration. So now too, we do something, and that is we don't say Tachnun. That's what's so significant and special about these last days in the month of Nissan. And what's interesting is that there's a famous word of the Tzemach Tzedek that's brought in the Frierdiker Rebbe Sichos and also in the Rebbe Sichos, that the Tzemach Tzedek said something special, something very interesting about the Yontiv of Achrein Shel Pesach, the last day of Pesach. And I'll read the Lashon that's brought in the Sichos. Der letzte Tag Pesach ruft men mit dem Nomen Achrein Shel Pesach. We call the last day of Pesach Achrein Shel Pesach. Das heißt, as Achrein Shel Pesach, der letzte Tag von Pesach, is der Siyum von dem, was es hat sich angeheben, die erste Nacht von Pesach. That means that Achrein Shel Pesach is the final completion of what has begun on the first night of Pesach. Der erste Nacht Pesach is unser Yomtiv, was HaKadosh Baruch Hu hat uns ausgelöst von Mitzrayim. The first night of Pesach is our Yomtiv that we celebrate that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim in the past. Die Geula Rishone durch Moshe Rabbeinu, was is given der Goyel Rishon. Das is given der Onheib, that was the beginning. Acharein Shel Pesach is unser Yomtiv auf der Geula Achareina. Achrein Shel Pesach is our Yomtiv that we celebrate for the Geula Achreina, was HaKadosh Baruch Hu wird uns auslesen von dem Golus Achrein durch Moshiach Tzidkenu. And so the Tzemach Tzedek clearly said that one of the inyonim of Achrein Shel Pesach, and the name Achrein Shel Pesach, is symbolizing the celebrating of our Geula Achreina, celebrating the Geula HaSida. And he says, der erste Tag Pesach is Moshe Rabbeinu's Simchet Tag, and Achrein Shel Pesach is Mashiach's Simchet Tag. Achrein Shel Pesach is called Mashiach's Simchet Day. That means it's the day that we celebrate and we're happy with Mashiach, with the Geula HaSida. It's our Yontif for the Geula Achreina. This is very inspirational, powerful words that the Tzemach Tzedek said. The Yontif of Achrein Shel Pesach is specifically a Yontif for the future. It's a Yontif to celebrate the Geula that's coming. So in continuation to the Yontiv of Achrein Shel Pesach, we then continue after Pesach until the end of Nissan to continue this type of celebration by not saying Tachnun the rest of the month, also in connection with the Geula Achreina, in connection with the Mikdash HaOsid, as the Meiser Keach explains, being that the official appropriate time for the Chanukas Habayis of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, according to Masechtes Sofrim, that suggests that it will be done in Nissan, and the Meiser Keach makes the cheshbon that it will be after Erev Pesach, so it's going to be during Pesach, and therefore the time for the Chanukas Habayis will first be available after Pesach, and this is the time that we celebrate the idea and the great celebration that will be in Chanukas Habayis, the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, and we don't say Tachnun for this reason. And this is something very inspirational about these days, in the end of the month of Nissan, that is a special emphasis on the B'Nissan Asidin Li Goyel. And it starts with Achrein Shel Pesach, that's our Yontif for the Geula Achreina, and continues till the end of Nissan by not saying Tachnun, L'Zeicher Mikdash HaOsid, to show our Simcha towards that time, and we're anticipating the Chanukas Habayis of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, which will be a very great Simcha.